A Plaguelands Media production.
Hey everyone, this is Hugh from Plaguelands Media bringing you another book review today. So, cheers. Very refreshing, especially on a day like today where it is so hot outside. Now, the book I'm going to review today was a book that I was familiar with when it was released, way back in the late 90s, I believe. But it was a book that I wasn't really interested in. And the reason I wasn't interested in it is because it's book one in a series of unconnected novels, as far as I know, called Lost Empires. Now, these books kind of dealt with aspects of the Forgotten Realms, that have been long gone. This one in particular deals with the elven city of Myth-Drenor. Those of you that are not familiar with this, Myth-Drenor was once this amazing mecca of like elven beauty and architecture and wisdom and knowledge that was built within the forest of Cormanthyr. At this point, I would get out a map and show you, but I really don't feel like doing that today. It's just way too hot. So, the elves decided to allow humans and dwarves to kind of come in and share in their collective knowledge and experiences and whatnot. And then an army of evil came and decimated Myth-Drenor to the point where the elves had to flee. Many of them fled back to the Isle of Evermeet, which is kind of like this elven homeland. And Myth-Drenor now sits as ruins. There was a second edition boxed set called The Ruins of Myth-Drenor, which I actually have the print-on-demand version. And if anyone wants me to review that a little more in depth, then please let me know down in the comments. So the book I'm reviewing is called The Lost Library of Cormanthyr by Mel Odom. I have reviewed books of his in the past. And this is a very ambitious book. And the reason I say that is because most Forgotten Realms books take place in kind of one, maybe two parts of Faerun. This goes all over the fucking place. And they take a lot of liberties with a spell called Dimension Door. They use Dimension Door to go hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles. And in the game, the spell isn't really used like that. But you know what? Artistic liberties aside, who really gives a shit? Now, the main plot of this is the main character, a ranger called Bailey, has just discovered that his master, a wizard called Golsway, I believe, has been murdered. And this wizard's whole point was to find this lost library. He kind of trained Bailey to be an explorer, a collector of knowledge. And Bailey is a suspect in this wizard's murder because the last time they spoke, which happened to be like 5 years ago, they got into an argument, and the murder happens in Waterdeep. Bailey isn't there at the time. And then from that, the kind of clues are slowly put together, and it all kind of culminates in the big, exciting finale that every one of these standalone novels actually has. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty in the introduction. If you want to discover this for yourself, feel free. I will let you know that it goes from this Ranger Conclave thing to Waterdeep. It goes from Waterdeep to Caer Caladir in the Moonshade Isles, from there to Lantern, from there to Mintan, from there to a shipwreck, Then from there to Candlekeep, which is a giant library. If you've played Baldur's Gate, the first one, you'll know what Candlekeep is. From Candlekeep, it goes to the forest of Cormanthyr. And then from the forest, it goes down into the ruins of Mithranor. So there you have it. As I said, all over the fucking place. Was that a bad thing? No, by all means it wasn't. It's just that if you don't know Faerun or you're not familiar with these places, you're going to be a little bit lost unless you have a map. And there is a map that came with the book. It's not a good one, but I'm reading this on a Kindle. So there you have it. So that's the gist of it. If you don't want any spoilers and you want to go and read it for yourself, then go watch another one of the videos. I released 2 of them yesterday. There's a ton of good stuff out there. But if you do want to know exactly what happens to Bailey on his journey to find the lost library of Cormanthyr, then by all means stick around for the next episode of...
Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. People.
Okay, now before we begin, I am going to butcher names. I am going to forget names. There were so many characters in this book. It wasn't funny. I'm just probably going to refer to them by their job descriptions, character classes, whatever. So the novel starts with Bailey looking for something. He's in this forest with his companion. His companion is what is known as an azimuth bat. This is a small bat who has limited magic ability, can communicate telepathically. And while rangers in Dungeons & Dragons can have animal companions, the bat isn't kind of like this. The bat has had many companions in the past. It, or I think of it as a she just latches onto people. And she's been with Bailey for a long, long time. Bailey is being followed by a fellow thief. Bailey doesn't see himself as a thief. He's a ranger who is interested in preserving knowledge. Whereas this woman that's following him is a thief. She just wants to grab the items and flee. She's being hunted by a goblin raiding party. Because it's Dungeons & Dragons, you've got to have goblins at the beginning. They manage to fight the goblins off, and Bailey finds what he's looking for in this abandoned well, and manages to retrieve this item, which is then subsequently stolen after the 2 of them make camp and do the deed. And she runs off with it, but Bailey's not too worried. He at least found it. That's his big deal. He doesn't hold any grudges. So he and the bat, they're going to go to this kind of ranger festival where rangers from all over Faerun come, and it's storytelling, competitions, sharing knowledge, weapon skills, all that kind of stuff. Just think of it as a big ranger party. Ranger Fest, why not? Now, while this is happening, there is a lich called Shallow Soul, and he has sent his, I would say, lackey, assistant, off to find this wizard in Waterdeep called Goldsway. Now, apparently Goldsway has stolen something from this lich. And so the Dark Elf goes to Goldsway in Waterdeep, but Goldsway is actually talking to another fellow wizard, or a merchant, I believe. He's a merchant. And Goldsway kind of lets him know that he has a lead on this lost library of Cormanthyr. This merchant is kind of very interested in it. And as they're talking, this dark elf breaks through Goldsway's wards, busts in, kills the merchant, and savagely kills Goldsway. The Waterdeep City Watch investigates the crime, and then they are led to Bailey, Goldsway's former apprentice. And the Lord, okay, so Waterdeep has 12 lords. 11 of them are masked. One of them isn't. Lord Piegron. He tells the kind of head of this branch of the Watch, after she informs him about Bailey and she knows where Bailey is, he's like, take some men and go there and bring him back for questioning. So they end up going all the way to this Ranger Fest, and while they're there, the Dark Elf that killed Goldsway attacks with other Dark Elves. So Dark Elves are a matriarchal society. This female Dark Elf has these male Dark Elves that are kind of her lackeys. They don't question her. They're her little kind of bodyguard. And she's given them all these circlets that will raise and control skeleton warriors. Now, skeleton warriors are not skeletons, okay? Skeleton warriors are above and beyond more difficult to fight. If you think of a skeleton as challenge rating 1, a skeleton warrior would probably be challenge rating 9, okay? So really difficult to kill. So the Waterhaven group has come. They've spoken to Bailey. The main chick, Cordin, or Cordlin, I forget. It was so long ago since I finished this book, like this morning at 8:30, so who knows. Bailey's a little taken with her, mainly because Zuza, what's the name of the bat, is giving him these messages in his mind, like telepathically, like, yeah, you could do it, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But while they're there at that Ranger Fest, the Dark Elves and the Undead attack. So everyone's kind of fighting. Bailey realizes, holy shit, they're here for me because he's been informed that Goldsway is dead. So he they fight the Skeleton Warriors. Skeleton Warriors can only be hurt with magic. Bailey isn't much of he's a skilled fighter, don't get me wrong, but he prefers thinking his way out of situations. So they fight off the Skeleton Warriors and the Drow Elves, and they all retreat. And Bailey's like, okay, I've got to come back to Waterdeep with all of you. And another one of his friends, this guy called Thulid, he's like, I'm going to come with you. And so he joins this expedition, and they end up going back to Waterdeep. While in Waterdeep, he is confronted with Goldsway's death and exactly kind of what happened and all that kind of stuff. And he's not having a very good time, naturally. But he comes onto a clue. And it's a clue that Goldsway had. It's Goldsway's lead on this lost library. And it's a pirate in the island of Lantern, off the coast of the Moonshade Isles, who has a clue to a shipwreck. Now, at the very, very, very beginning of the book, the prologue part, I intentionally left this out because it's relevant here. There's a ship called something of the something. I don't know. It's an elven ship, whatever. They give them fancy names. Let me just find it quickly. Come on. Okay, the ship is called Chalice of the Crowns. Chalice of the Crowns is being not helmed, but rented out by this elven woman called Gwyneth Skyreach. Gwyneth Skyreach is the granddaughter of the elf who actually created this library, this lost library. And she is trying to get part of this library to Evermeet when the ship is attacked and the ship goes down. And it's this shipwreck that Bailey believes this pirate Urzanoff or Urzaraf has a map to. So he sneaks away from Waterdeep and manages to get there and meet this pirate. And he and the pirate kind of exchange ideas. And the pirate's like, yeah, I can help you out. On the condition that any treasure in the shipwreck is mine. And Bailey's like, that's cool. He's not interested in the treasure. He's interested in the books that are on this ship. So he and the pirates and the pirate's crew and his mate Thulid, they sail off around Mintan, which is another island off the coast of the Moonshades, and they find the shipwreck. Bailey has a couple of potions of water breathing, and he uses one to dive down to the shipwreck itself. But the pirate captain and some of his crew also have potions of water breathing, and they go down and they see all the gold and silver, and they just start looting shit. Bailey's not looking for anything like that. He's looking for the books. He's got this special bag, and when he puts stuff in it, the bag still appears empty. Now, you'll think this is a bag of holding. It is not. It is a special bag that sends anything he puts in it to a friend of his in Candlekeep, this giant library on the Sword Coast. The reason he has this bag is because his master, Golsway, insisted that he write journals about their investigations, their knowledge seeking and everything. And he showed one of these journals to his friend in Candlekeep, and his friend is like, this is really good. Here's a bag. Every time you finish a journal, if you put it in this bag, it will appear in a closet, and I can keep it here at the library for you. You don't have to carry them around or store them anywhere. They'll be safe here. And they will be safe at Candlekeep. It's like one of the most secure locations in Faerun. So he's going around and he's finding books, and he's just shoving books in this bag. And the pirate captain is like, ha ha ha, you're fucking dumb. We've got all the gold. You've got nothing. And Bailey's like, yep, I'm a fucking idiot. Whatever. And it's at that point that a bunch of whales start attacking. These whales have been sent by this lich, Shallow Soul. And so they all escape up onto the boat on the pirate ship. But the pirate ship, not only does it start getting attacked, but Urzaraf turns on Bailey and his friend, and they're about to be killed, but Bailey, his friend, and the bat steal a longboat and sail off, and then the whales come and they smash the other boat up, but by this time, Bailey and his friends have escaped. So his friend is like, we don't know where we are, and we're never going to find the coast. And Bailey's like, got it covered, you're cool, just follow my lead, and he puts the little mast up on the longship, on the longship. And they go off sailing, and they have some supplies and whatnot, and the bat's there, and they're just chatting away about the plan to get Urzaraf to come to the shipwreck. And Bailey had all bases covered. They were never in any danger of anything because he knew Urzaraf was going to turn on him and whatnot. The whales were the thing that he had no idea was going to happen. They see another boat on the horizon, and it's flying Waterdeep, the Waterdeep flag, and so they sail towards it, and it is, of course, Cordlin, who gets them up, and she's like, listen, we've got to talk, and Bailey's like, no, I've got to go talk to the captain of this ship. And he sits down and he tells everyone over like this huge feast of food and whatnot, because they haven't eaten in a while. And he tells them exactly what has happened. He leaves nothing out. He doesn't hide a thing. And he says, we have to go to Candlekeep. And the captain and Cordlin are like, well, no, we've got to go to Waterdeep. And Bailey's like, no, we've got to go to Candlekeep. I sent my friend a note with that bag that I was telling you about, and he'll be expecting us. We've got to go to Candlekeep. So they head to Candlekeep, and he's met by his friend, and they go in there, and he goes, did you get the books? The friend is like, yeah, I was mopping seawater up for ages, because the book goes in the bag and then appears in this closet, but as he's putting them in underwater, all the seawater was coming out as well. And Bailey goes through the books, and one of the books is the captain's log, the log of the granddaughter of the guy that created the Lost Library, and it explains exactly where the Lost Library is. I still love that Alan Pollock cover. It's so good. I guess that's Bailey there, and that could be a stone golem with the Lich sitting in the background. It's just such an evocative cover. So they start making plans, and after a lot of umming and ahhing about should Bailey go alone because he wants to, and that's this and that and the other, they all decide to head off there. So the monks of Candlekeep managed to send them halfway across Faerun into the forest of Cormanthyr, where they come to the ruins of Myth-Drenon. Now, in the ruins, there is a well, and this is where, or it's just outside the ruins, I should say, and this is where the entrance to the library has been hidden. So they go down into this well, and then Bailey, who goes first, he realizes, okay, there's a secret door here, but there are a number of pictographs, and we have to press them in the right order, and there's a clue. And it's one of those Dungeons & Dragons puzzles that I used to love throwing in there. You give them an obscure clue and some pictures, and they press the wrong one, and bad shit happens. So he presses them. One of them is wrong, but he manages to drop down before these lances shoot out from the wall and impale him. And he ends up getting the right answer, and the door opens, so they all go down into the library. Now, what the Lich doesn't realize is that his Dark Elf assistant, lackey, whatever, has recruited a hobgoblin chieftain to basically come at her beck and call because she plans on taking out the Lich. That's her kind of role. All through this book as well, there is a Baelnorn that is kind of protecting the library, and he talks to the Dark Elf, and the Dark Elf fucking hates the Baelnorn. What the fuck is a Baelnorn? A Baelnorn is the undead spirit of an elf who has been tasked with protecting family crypts from looters and things like that. They are almost always good, and their purpose is just to keep family treasure intact and make sure looters don't desecrate the tombs. And he has been tasked with this. He says to the Dark Elf, listen, if I help you, take what you want from here, but please don't desecrate my family graves. And the Dark Elf is like, okay, that's a fair deal. And then when the Baelnorn leaves, she's like, wait a minute. Must be something fucking good in there. I'm going to do it. So Bailey and the crew get down there. They're going through tunnels and stuff. They come to another pictograph problem, which they solve, and they get entrance into the Lost Library of Cormanthyr, where they are met by the Baelnorn, who kind of helps them a little bit with dimension doors and stuff. And he was like, listen, The Lich was tasked with protecting the library, and he went batshit crazy, and now he wants to steal the library, and he wants to take it into the astral plane. So what you've got to do is you've got to go and find the Lich's phylactery, and you've got to destroy it, and then we can destroy the Lich and stop the spell that he has already started. Okay, what the fuck is a Lich's phylactery? What the fuck is a Lich? A Lich is a wizard that, seeking immortality, makes themselves undead. They split their soul up. Think of it as a single Horcrux, if you're a fan of Harry Potter. And they hide that piece of the soul in a phylactery, which can be any object or whatever. And if they die, they can be resurrected using from the phylactery itself. So they're going through this this library. They're all kind of entranced by how fucking cool it is, all the books in it. It's this giant fucking labyrinth maze. It'd be really cool to run an adventure in it, to be perfectly honest with you. So they're doing that. The Lich realizes what the fuck is going on. The Dark Elf realizes what the fuck is going on. She summons the Hobgoblin army, which is now grown, and it just becomes a massive shit fight running through this library. Bailey trying to get to the phylactery, the soldiers, the Waterhaven soldiers trying to hold off the hobgoblins, then undead appear, and it's just one fight after another with acrobatics and all of that cool shit, and it's really, really well done. Really, really well done. That's one thing Mel Odom can do really well, is action sequences. He is on par, in my opinion, with R.A. Salvatore, although R.A. Salvatore is a little more technical with his, whereas Mel Odom is a little more cinematic. But that's just my opinion. You might have a different view. So it culminates in this room where there's all these spinning gems in a whirlwind, diamonds and rubies and emeralds and sapphires and all that. And anyone that gets sucked into this whirlwind, their gems are spinning so fast they'll like go through someone's head and the head will explode and shit like that. It's really cool. The Dark Elf, knowing where the phylactery is running for it. Bailey is chasing her. Bailey gets stopped by the Hobgoblin chieftain. They fight. The chieftain is the superior warrior, but Bailey manages to outsmart him, and in doing so gets his battle axe, which is clearly magical and clearly much better than his sword. They get up to the top level, and there's Bailey, the Bat, Zuza, and Corlin, and the Dark Elf. And Corlin is about to be killed by the Dark Elf. Zuza casts silence on the Dark Elf. Bailey sneaks over and one slice decapitates her. That's her out of the way. They start looking for this phylactery and they find it, but the Lich has come on a magic carpet, and the phylactery is this like emerald drum that's being held by this statue, and the Lich is sitting in front of this stone table, and he says some words, and the stone table turns into a stone golem, and the stone golem attacks. And Bailey hits it with his sword, and the sword shatters. He's like, fuck, and the golem is punching at Bailey. Bailey's dodging. He's knocking shit off the shelves, books and stuff. The Lich is freaking out because all the books are being destroyed. And Bailey manages to get the drum away by cutting off the hands of the statue that's kind of holding it up. And he's trying to drag it down so he can give it to the Baelnorn in the room below. And the stone golem is about to attack Corlin, but Corlin's not moving because the Lich has enspelled her. So Bailey basically saves her by using Zuzar to scratch the Lich's hand, which breaks the spell because you need to concentrate on this shit. And then they're running away from this golem, and they're almost to the stairs when there's a gust of wind that the Lich casts, and it just throws the golem at them. And they both duck, but Cordelin falls over the edge of the railing and manages to catch it, and the phylactery kind of gets stuck in the railing. But then as the golem goes over and kind of knocks shit down, the phylactery starts to fall, and Cordelin starts to fall, and Bailey realizes he can only save one, and it's got to be the phylactery because we need to kill this fucking Lich. But then he realizes he has feelings for her, so he saves her instead, using this awesome magic rope trick. And the phylactery falls down, but as it does so, the Lich grabs the phylactery, and he's flying up. And then the Lich gets caught in his own spell, and the Baelnorn is like, well, we're fucked. Because the spell didn't, the Lich appeared to be disintegrated, but the spell didn't stop, which means the Lich is still alive, probably in the astral plane. We've got to get out of here, because this whole thing is going to get sucked into the astral plane. They're like, oh, shit, we lost? So they start running. As all the books are being sucked into this whirlpool. And as they go through different rooms, there are different whirlpools that are sucking all the books in. They manage to escape. The Baelnorn gets sucked in as well. But all the heroes manage to escape and get to the surface. And when they go back down to check the well, it's basically blocked off now with rubble from these cave-ins and all that kind of shit. So Bailey's really despondent until the bat says, well, listen, it's just in the astral plane. You're going to find a clue and you're going to go there. It's not lost if you keep looking for it. And Bailey's like, yeah, you're right. And then Cordelin says, you can leave now or you can come back to Waterdeep, answer some questions. You've still got Goldsway's will to deal with and all of that. And Bailey's like, you know what, I'll come back to Waterdeep. I can meet up with some friends, stay with them. And she's like, well, you can stay at the rooming house I'm at. He's like, interesting. And that is where the book ends. The good guys find the library, but they don't get the library. Okay, let me just bring this back up again. Okay, Lost Library of Cormanthyr was a very fun read. I enjoyed it quite a lot. I'm looking forward to reading the next few books in the Lost Empire series. However, I'm going to kind of jump over to another series of one-off books that I really enjoyed growing up, and that is the Harper's series. So the next Kindle book I'll be reading is The Parched Sea. I believe Troy Denning wrote that. As well as... Hold on. There you go, BB. You can have your blankie, mate. As well as The Giant Among Us, which is book 2 in the Ogres, or the Twilight Giants trilogy. I'm also reading the Gail Simone novel Red Sonja Consumed and thoroughly enjoying that. So look for those book reviews coming up in the near future. I'll also be looking at a few role-playing things as well that I want to talk about, some latest D&D stuff and things like that. So we've got a lot going on. I'm still on vacation for a few more weeks before I go back to a very difficult semester, so the videos might slow down a little bit, but by all means, do not worry. Plaguelands Media has a lot of projects in the works. We've got more videos coming out. We're not going anywhere. I just want to thank all you little Plaguelandians out there for watching, for liking, for subscribing, for getting your friends in, for doing all that cool shit. But most importantly, I want you to stay safe. I want you to have a fantastic rest of your day. But most importantly, read a fucking book, people.